So here's another set of interesting documents, and I'm not going to deny this is one of my most cherished sets of documents. This is not going to be able to be a short video because it is what it is. So please bear with me, and anybody that watches these and lets this sink in and appreciate the amount of absolute corruption this was, I appreciate it. I do. I appreciate it. Nobody had to answer for any of this. Nobody's ever going to go to jail for any of this. And my son is the one that paid for it. Well, my family did. So with that little bit of background, what this is here is a couple of pieces of paper from his original court case. And I have decided, of the thousands of documents I have, I am going to have to put all this together and make a very long video in one piece. But for pieces and pieces, what this is during his original case, when he was a juvenile at 15 years old, he had a plea hearing. The night before the plea hearing was Super Bowl Sunday, February 2nd. And I went up there and visited him, and I begged him not to sign this plea deal. And he was crying. They were going to stick him in, his probation officer was threatening him with 2 years in Lincoln Hills if he didn't sign it. Because they needed to get him to sign this, because, the victim's mother was a clerk of courts, and her husband made a felony false statement. Can't have that. Anywho, you'll have to excuse the anxiety. Even 10 years later, 8 years later, this stuff just makes my blood boil. I'm not going to deny it. These people deliberately ruined my kid's life. So we have nothing to lose. He's in prison. He has a 35-year sentence, 20 in maximum security, 15 parole. And they have ruined all of our lives. So we really have nothing to lose. None of this ever happened, what they accused him of. And he still will tell you to this day. It was made up. What has he got to lose? He's in prison. These corrupt officials did this. There's no question. But they also were able to get away with it by everybody covering it up. Never seen such a massive cover-up in my life. So let's move on. I'm sorry. Like I said, oh my God, I'm already at 2.5 minutes. So what this document is here is on Super Bowl Sunday I was visiting. In the middle of the game, I went up there to see him because my son matters. In the middle of the game, when it was time for me to go, in comes his attorney at about 7:30 at night, 7 o'clock at night. I can't remember. I have it documented. So what he came up there for was to rework my son after my visitation was over and to tell him he had to take this plea tomorrow. So anyway, we get into the plea hearing the next day. And we're all in there. And when I get in there, I see the defense attorney, the prosecutor, and my ex-wife and my son all over there in the corner, hiding from me, talking. Mind you, I have full custody. At this point, I have full sole custody of my kid in my divorce. Not her. And of course, he was, in custody. Literally. So anyway, let me move on to this. They hauled him in leg chains for a supposed sexual contact. They hauled him in leg chains, terrified. He was bawling. I begged him not to take the plea deal. I looked at Judge Zukowski because this is a criminal. Here's a piece of shit right here. Sorry for the language. That guy right there should not be on the fucking bench. He's a criminal. And people let him get away with this. Anyway, sorry for the angry. I'm going to pause it for a second and take a deep breath. Okay, so 3 times I looked at Judge John Zukowski and I said, my son needs a new attorney. I told Bryant, sorry, I'm back. I'm going to try to be calm. I told my son, it's in the transcripts. If anybody ever can get a hold of him, they probably destroyed him. I told my son, I said, tell the judge you need a new attorney right now because they were all in on this plea deal. And he was terrified and I knew what was going on. So finally, the judge just literally, deliberately just ignored me. I got up and walked out. The next day, this court order came down, and take a second, and I'll post the document itself, but I'm going to read it here. The court finds that Adrienne LeClaire, my ex-wife, is the biological mother of Bryant. Adrienne resides so. Adrienne LeClaire was born in Hamilton, Canada. She's a Canadian citizen. Does not possess a valid driver's license. She does possess an ITIN number for work purposes. Excuse me. This just makes my blood boil. Adrienne LeClaire must be able to visit her son Brian Ellis while he is in the Brown County Security Detention Facility, because they sentenced him to 6 months, and we'll get into this, while she is an integral part of his treatment and therapy. He has been ordered to a 90-day alternative program, which includes family contact and therapy. But at this point, it ended up being 5 months or something. Anyway, Scott Ellis, here we go. The father of Bryant Ellis disowned Bryant in court due to his son's decision to plead no contest to 1 count of second-degree sexual assault. But I thought it was 2 counts. And you will see in the previous video where they, committed more felonies by altering it into a rape. These people are corrupt to the fucking core. Adrienne Mary LeClaire is now the only parent who is supportive of Bryant Ellis. Her contact with Bryant is needed to help maintain his mental health. Adrienne Mary LeClaire is the only parent able to visit Bryant while he is in the security detention. I'm furious. Bryant Ellis will need her contact and support throughout his day in the 90-day alternative protocol. Adrienne Mary LeClaire's intention is her son will be needed for successful completion of the program. Pursuant to the above findings, it is ordered the court that Adrienne Mary LeClaire, the mother of Bryant, be allowed to visit him in the Brown County Security Detention Facility. So, I'm going to tell you right now here, I did not get to visit my son a day after this. The whole time he was in jail. They banned me from the jail. That seems fine, even though I had custody. Not only that, when he got out of jail, this is the document they used. Everybody, Joe, as a parent, this is the document they used to take away my sole legal custody. Now, get this. This is the same fucking scumbag who just gave me custody a few months before all this shit, or 2 years before all this shit. So the same judge that gave me my full sole custody from my ex-wife is the one that also took it away. Piece of shit. I'm sorry for the language, but you know what? These people got away with multiple misconduct and felonies. So anywho's, let's real quick move on to this document and the sentencing. I was taken out of his life, out of a visitation, out of the court process, couldn't go to the courthouse. They took him up for sentencing, and his attorney did not show up. I showed you hang on, I have to show another document. Okay, I'm sorry, I thought it important to get this document back out. I showed everybody yesterday in a shorter video that this lady here, and District Attorney Cynthia Vopal, deliberately ordered this and submitted this thing 2 counts, so that's a lie, 2 counts, and they changed it into sexual intercourse, even though this was in the hallway of school as kids were walking by. But this was entered into the record. Oh, fuck these people, man. They're such criminals. So, get this. My 15-year-old was in court for sentencing. 2 counts of rape. And they banned me from the whole process, and I had custody. His attorney didn't bother to show up that day. It's documented. The probation officer, Ms. Maloney, the felon, right here, Renee Maloney, she committed multiple felonies and all this, covering up the fact her mom was a clerk of courts and all this. But anyway, she went looking for his attorney, couldn't find him. She came back in, the judge said, well, we're going to proceed anyway. This crooked piece of shit right here. He said, we're going to proceed anyway. So he had my 15-year-old, 78 IQ son waive his own rights to sentencing, to have an attorney present. Well, they presented this document that says you raped these 2 girls in the hallway of school. So then after this was over and they sentenced him, because, this is how this fucking scum works, I went to the Office of Lawyer Regulation and I presented all these documents to him. And this shows you the complete utter worthlessness of our whole fucking system. On July 22nd, I received your timely request for a review. After reviewing the file, I have concluded the investigator Zeiser properly evaluated your grievance and that for the reasons in this letter to you, there is not a basis to proceed further. And the whole procedure was that he didn't find that my attorney, this was against his attorney, his public defender, Mr. Reed. He didn't find that there was a problem that he didn't show up for fucking sentencing. When they altered a document to show that my son supposedly raped these 2 children, 2 girls, bitter, angry teenagers that made it all up. This is how fucking corrupt Wisconsin is. I hope you're fucking proud. Excuse my anger. This one, Joe, got the better of me as a parent. This is why you say I'm unhinged. I am. I'm angry. How could anybody let these people get away with this shit? Governor Evers, thank you.